Welcome back to another episode of SeedSpark Sessions. Of course, as always, we hope this one finds you well, and for the entire month of June, we are talking about social media and building a digital presence. But today, I thought that I would sit down with our Director of Marketing, Taylor Dolinger, to talk more about the value that social media graphics and social media banners, profile pictures, and overall branding can bring to your business. She started at SeedSpark as a graphic designer and since then has risen to Director of Marketing, so she has a lot of insight to provide for those interested in learning more about the world of graphic design and about what it can do for your business and how it can promote the products and services you provide. So without further ado, let's go ahead and sit down with Taylor Dolinger to talk more about branding. So how did you get started in the world of graphic design, and really what made you want to pursue a career in the field itself?
I think as a kid, I just always loved drawing and making art, and I knew I wanted to do something in the creative field. But as I got older, I realized how powerful design could really be. I like the idea of being able to communicate things visually, and I think people are more apt to want to read or look at something when it's put into imagery and type that they can understand quickly and easily. So I get to make and use art to help communicate those ideas to others, and I think pursuing my degree in design at App State was just an amazing experience that helped me finesse my skills. With that being said, I still have to learn new things and techniques every day, and my designs look completely different now from how they did 5 years ago. I'll look back at something that I thought was amazing at the time, and then I relook at it years later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? So I think it's safe to say it'll always be changing to some degree, and that keeps things interesting. So I started here as a graphic designer. I kind of put myself just in that bucket. I thought it was always something I was just going to be. And as the team has evolved and I've gotten better at my skills, I've become the Director of Marketing here at SeedSpark. And being creative is still a huge part of what I do during the work week, but I love the idea of pulling all of the creative pieces together and creating that marketing strategy.
So whenever you're pulling all of the creative pieces together, what's the most rewarding part of the design process and really the process of creation in general?
I'd say the most rewarding part of design is being able to convey our clients' ideas. It's really the best feeling when I share a design with a client and it's like, there it is. It's exactly what they were picturing in their head. I think it's so hard to communicate that vision we have in our own minds sometimes, and when it clicks, it clicks. So collaborating with our clients and team members to take something to the finish line is just probably the most rewarding thing to me.
So you mentioned working directly with clients and kind of capturing their vision. Of course, a brand is a company in a way. Mm-hmm. So what does a company brand mean to you as a graphic designer and a director of marketing, really?
I think a company brand to me means everything. It encompasses so many things from assets to collateral and then the overall strategy that pulls those assets and collateral together. And it's just the face of your company to the outside world, especially potential clients that want to use your products or services. And when I think of what makes a great brand, I think of so many different pieces to the puzzle. From a logo to a website down to, simple business cards or email signatures, and then tying it out even further by creating content that just shows a cohesive tone across the board. All of these brand pieces are really what makes a company stand out from the rest.
So, of course, companies are founded on the products and services that they provide to their clients, but how important is branding for a business?
It's super important for all businesses, starting with small to medium-sized ones. I'd say it's important to invest the time and money to create a unified brand so that they can stand out and show up against their competitors. If there's a competitor in your industry that has a stellar brand, but your company doesn't even have a logo or a website, 9 times out of 10, the public's going to choose to do business with that competitor because they have a brand. It just shows validity and lets people know that you're keeping up to date if your brand is current. It's also just as important for large businesses to keep up with their brands as well. Logos and websites need to be revisited from time to time, and this goes back to making sure your brand is always up to date. It's very easy for people to recognize that your business's logo, color scheme, or even your font choices were selected in the early 90s or even the early 2000s, and they're just more likely to do business with someone else who is keeping up with the times and investing in their appearance.
Absolutely. So this is a bit of a curveball. If you have a company that is a legacy company and they have a brand that's from the 80s or 90s and they're really attached to it, do you think that there's something to be said about modernizing a brand that is founded in its legacy, that is kind of their bread and butter? Should you modernize a business that is, I suppose, seasoned in a way?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think those conversations can be a little bit trickier because, like you said, they can become very attached to that logo that's 15 or 20 years old. And so it's just about having a conversation with them and their goals. What do they want to do with their brand moving forward? Do they want to be, targeting a younger demographic or audience? And if so, then we do need to take a look at modernizing the brand.
So I mentioned earlier about products and services being the foundation of any good company. So shouldn't the product speak for itself and branding come second in a way?
I think the product speaking for itself is a large part of it. You obviously want your products and services that you're selling to be of top quality, and no amount of marketing or ad investment can completely counter having a bad product to begin with. But the branding of a business should amplify and spread the reach of your company. And then once you have people in the door, they're hooked with how great your product actually is.
So when we're talking about digital marketing, where does branding fit in? I think that branding can often be associated with the basics that we see in our everyday lives scattered throughout our entire workday or home life. But where does branding fit into the digital space that we're living in now?
Yeah, so like you just said, most people think about branding as a sign on a building, a logo on a cup, or even a label on a box. So in the digital world, branding encompasses more than just a logo. It's anywhere from a profile picture and cover photo or banner size to fit each social media platform's unique layout, or it's a comprehensive website design that's cohesive branding from top to bottom in terms of your content, color, and imagery. It also moves into social media graphics that match your company's color scheme and design, helping to create a well-curated social media collection. There are just so many unique elements that come together to create a brand in the digital marketing space.
Although digital is a big part of where we find ourselves today, physical still maintains some level of importance, right? So what are some physical projects you've worked on in the past, and how do physical and digital creations mesh together in modern marketing?
Sure. So some of our physical projects typically include signs or business cards, promotional rack cards, and just things of that nature. I think one of the best and most recent physical projects that we've done was for Gen Con builders. Since they specialize in all sorts of construction projects, it was very important for them to have necessary safety signage at their work sites and hard hat areas. And when we were done with these safety signs, they looked killer. And while they were very helpful in reminding the Gen Con team to wear their PPE, they also called back to the overall Gen Con brand. So regarding meshing those physical signs with digital marketing, we took plenty of photos of the signs in action at those work sites and posted them to social media for Gen Con. And this just further solidified the safety conscious tone of their brand for all of their social media audience to see.
Absolutely. So with so many creatives in the space, what do you think the secret is at SeedSpark? What's unique about what we actually provide as a team as compared to going with a larger agency or a freelance contractor?
I think one of our unique elements is the relationships that we build with our clients, and also being able to collaborate so cohesively within our own team. We're not just trying to pump out work and be done with it. We're always continuously looking at ways we can improve the brand and digital marketing strategies for our clients and ourselves as well. So everything is fully custom, and we're always trying to make our clients' visions come to life.
So as technology continues to advance and the world of digital marketing continues to evolve along with it, where do you see corporate branding in 10 years? And how do you think that our part of the creative and marketing space will shift?
To answer your first question, I think custom branding as a process and service will be similar to what it is like today, but the tools that we create with, they are already changing constantly, and I expect them to continue to do so. We'll have more tools at our disposal that will likely help our designs moving forward, and I do see the marketing space continuing to shift as well, probably even more so than the act of creating a logo. With that being said, how the marketing space is shifting, there are so many things that can be automated nowadays with new technologies coming out. Ad campaigns and audience targeting, for example, get creepier by the minute, as I'm sure most people have seen. And although it is super creepy to see an ad come up for that new clothing line or some makeup tool that you were just talking about, it's an outstanding marketing tool to use in getting people who want to buy your product to do so. It's only going to become more automated and targeted as time goes on.
So you mentioned about automated technology becoming a bigger part of digital marketing. That's absolutely true. Is there any way that you could ever fully automate the design process?
I've thought about this a lot. I know with machine learning and artificial intelligence that there are ways to do that. I feel like you could maybe input some things that you're looking for and something could maybe create it for you, but I don't think the personal collaboration with a client will ever come from an automated design as it would an actual human.
Right. Working from person to person, from client to client, certainly brings a unique element, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up today's podcast?
Really, I think I'm just excited to see where the design and marketing space heads into the future, and always keeping on top of those trends and keeping up with it.
Thanks for taking time to check out this episode of SeedSpark Sessions. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to subscribe on podcast services, or, of course, you can find the show on YouTube as well. Links to those pages and our social media channels will be down below, or you can always hit us up on the official SeedSpark website for more information on the topics we covered, or to learn more about the services we offer. But we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.